Force has penetrated the shield and landed on Endor.
This is where the fun begins.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
This is Rebel Force Radio.
Your source for the Force.
Star Wars news and commentary.
With Jason Swank and Jimmy Mack.
I've seen Star Wars 500 times.
Star Wars #1!
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe. I suggest we use it.
Now it's time for Rebel Force Radio.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Hey Star Wars fans, Jimmy Mack here with you, and welcome back to another edition of Rebel Force Radio, the weekly RFR. So I know what you're saying to yourself right now. Hey, it's that guy. How come I'm not hearing from the other guy? Like usual, where's Swank? Well, unfortunately, because of a technical issue in one of the RFR studios, we will not be able to offer you a fresh episode of the weekly Force of the weekly RFR this week. I know. I'm disappointed too. We had a great show scheduled for you guys this week. But we were going to feature our tribute. We were going to feature our tribute to the late, great poster artist Drew Struzan. We were going to feature the Star Wars news that came out of last weekend's New York Comic-Con, production updates for the upcoming Ahsoka Season 2, listener feedback, Star Wars and pop culture, an outrageous, unthinkable story, and we reveal some rumors about whether or not we could be seeing the original cut of 1977 Star Wars return to movie theaters to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the film. So we have all those rumors for you guys. We're going to review them all, but unfortunately, we cannot bring you the show this week. But fear not, we're not going to scrap it. We're just going to bounce it to next week and feature our tribute to Drew Struzan and everything else on next week's show. So you'll be able to hear it all next week. But you're probably saying to yourself, well, what am I going to hear this week? Well, I got a special treat for you. You hear us talking all the time about Rebel Force Radio on Patreon at patreon.com/Rebel Force Radio. You hear us talking about bonus podcasts. You hear us talking about full show video. You hear us talking about early bird releases and the great community that gathers at patreon.com/Rebel Force Radio. And we also have bonus exclusive podcasts like RFR RPG, The Babu Freaks, and RFR Q&A. You hear us talking about it all the time on the show, but you might be saying to yourself, well, I've been kind of interested in Patreon, curious about joining and supporting my favorite Star Wars podcast, but I don't know, RFR Q&A, what's that all about? Well, good news. We are taking an episode of RFR Q&A and we're making it available for you to hear this week on Rebel Force Radio. It's a great episode of RFR Q&A featuring myself and RFR VIP Matt Rashid. You've heard Matt here on the weekly show before. You've heard him call in to live shows, and he is our regular game master Matt when it comes to RFR RPG. He's there with us every month playing Star Wars RPG alongside myself and Tyler Page. And Matt hosted a great episode of RFR Q&A with me. It features myself and Matt as we go through the amazing book, Star Wars, the Annotated Screenplays, written by Laurent Bozereau. It's a killer book that features the entire shooting scripts for all three of the original trilogy films, along with notations revealing information about how each scene evolved throughout George Lucas's writing process, from the rough draft all the way to the final revised fourth script. The book also includes interview quotes from George Lucas and other key creatives. And so me and Matt Rashid sit down, we open up the book, we pick a few scenes at random to act out, and we analyze the entire thing. So we're going to take a deep dive into the original screenplay for Star Wars: A New Hope. We're so happy you're going to join us throughout the entire process. We have a lot of laughs doing it as well. So let's get right into it. As heard only on patreon.com/Rebel Force Radio, this is RFR Q&A featuring Star Wars: A New Hope, the annotated screenplay.
Rebel Force Radio presents.
Excuse me, sir. Might I inquire what's going on?
This is RFR Q&A.
Hey, Star Wars fans, Jimmy Mack here with you, and welcome back to a very special edition of RFR Q&A. Why is it so special? Well, we've pulled this guy out of the Q&A mothballs. He's only been heard on RFR RPG for the last, I don't know, couple of years now, but he was the very first ever participant of the RFR Q&A. You go all the way back to episode number 1, and you will hear the debut of our guest for this episode, which is like number 240 or something. I don't know.
Wow.
RFR VIP, Matt Rashid, OG VIP, Matt Rashid.
Thank you, Jimmy Mack. Do I say welcome back to the table? I can't.
No,
I can't say that. So I'll just say thank you for having me. It's great to be back to chat Star Wars.
This is my table we're sitting at.
This is your table.
Yeah, this is my table. So Matt's been graciously our game master for the RFR RPG games, and you certainly
it's such a chore. I really it's such a chore. I'm so gracious.
You certainly have taught me a lot about RPG, which is something I was relatively ignorant about, and on certain nights I still am very ignorant about. But it's been a lot of fun. So we have the Adventures of Podcastus and Grando the Grand. And then Matt is other various characters. A fan favorite, though, is your Cassian Andor, for sure. They're always just had enough with the tomfoolery that goes on between Podcastus and Grando the Grand. He's just...
Yes, you idiots.
He's just only at the end of his rope.
Yeah.
He's got no sticks. He's got no carrots. He's got nothing.
Nothing. You're trying to get into season 2. I've been having to cock block these guys from getting into season 2.
How this version of Cassian ever made it even as far into Rogue One that he did is amazing. And then my favorite...
He doesn't even sound like Cassian. He's his own. He's our Cassian.
He's kind of, part Diego Luna, part Cheech Marin.
Yeah.
And we love him just the same. Yeah. Cassian and Chong. That's that. Yeah, I'm so looking forward to Andor season 2 also, by the way. It's something occurred to me today that, oh man, we're only a few weeks away from that sucker launch.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to really get buzzed about that. And then before the show started, I was telling Matt that I'm really going through a lot of prep to a lot of let's just say get my my adrenaline flowing for the re-release of Revenge of the Sith. So I've been watching all the behind the scenes featurettes and the deleted scenes, because those are cool too, because you see Genevieve O'Reilly as Mon Mothma. And some of that discussion about Palpatine's power getting out of hand and all of that really sets up Andor in a big way.
Yeah.
So,
it's amazing. And so interesting because you brought it up the other episode or two ago, how she is one of the best recasting that they have done.
Oh, the best.
Probably, and
who could be better?
If I recall correctly, she was never actually in the final cut.
Right.
So it was almost like she's like an Easter egg recasting, because the only way you would know is if you watch the deleted scenes.
Right. They even made an action figure of her and everything back in the day.
Book. She was in the making of books and such, but you really had to be a deep diver. Your casual viewer was not going to have any clue.
But it's really amazing then for her to come back and play the role in the Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka, and voice the character in Rebels, and it's really cool. I like her.
Was
a
she
lot
in Ahsoka?
too.
I can't remember.
Yeah, remember when they went all the way to the top to try to get permission to go to chase down.
That's right.
Paradia or whatever.
That's right.
So yes. Hera had gone in front of her in the court. Remember that scene with C-3PO? He made an appearance.
Yeah. Was Leia in that scene or in it at all? Or am I misremembering? Did you suggest it was? Or why do I have that in my head?
Because they give her a shout out in there.
Okay.
3PO is delivering a message from Lando.
3PO was there. That's what it was.
But it's not.
I got to go back and watch.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. You got to watch all that stuff 500 times.
Yeah,
you have to.
Because so many. You have to because I mean, part of the downside of always getting new Star Wars, if there is a downside, is that you never stop to go back and watch it because to rewatch it. I mean, because you're waiting for the next one. Well, so much of the fun is in rewatching.
I really pushed myself to rewatch Andor. And now I'm looking at some Clone Wars arcs, specifically the Onderon arc, which kind of ties into our RPG games with it all happening.
Totally. I should go back and watch that too. Maybe I should have before we played.
But, you do have the Beast Riders represented in that and the Walled City and all of that stuff and the Saw Gerrera stuff and the death of his sister and all the things that sort of pushed Saw in the direction he went in.
That's right.
When Forrest Whitaker was introduced as Saw Gerrera, I thought, wow, this is vastly different than what we saw in Clone Wars. But now that I've grown accustomed to the Saw Gerrera take from Forrest Whitaker, when I go back and look at this younger version voiced by a different actor, I see it now. I'm like, yeah, he's a young Saw Gerrera.
Yeah,
he's young. Yeah. He's not beaten down so much by war. He's beaten down.
He's an idealist.
Yeah, well, for sure.
Not a murderer.
Well, he just wants things to go back to the way they were.
Yeah.
Before their king was overthrown, and then a separatist-backed leader was placed in the throne, and it's a whole deal. But
I mean, and also I remember going back to watch it too, back when around when Rogue One was coming out, to try to connect those dots with that character. And just thinking, if nothing else, the first time we see this kid, he's in a war. And then the next time we see him at the other end of his life, he's in a war. I mean, so he's been fighting all of his life since what? How old is he in that episode?
Probably 20. Late teens, maybe.
Late teens, 20 maybe. I mean, he's a Luke Skywalker-ish age from New Hope.
20,
so so it's like all he knows is war, and it only gets worse. So I could totally see where somebody like that ends up being the Saw that we see in Rogue One.
It doesn't really work with Forrest Whitaker's age, but whatever, we can throw that out the window. Forrest is 63. So he's
but who cares? I mean, the
if he's playing
like actors' ages, it doesn't.
I know. But sometimes I do use that.
Whitaker is 64. That's not mathematically correct.
Sometimes I do use that as a barometer of, what their fictional ages are.
Oh yeah, totally.
Don't you?
Yeah, all the time.
All right, just
all the time.
I'm sure I like
to give you a hard time though because I like.
I know. You just made me feel like I was weird or something for thinking that.
Look, so we're doing a Star Wars podcast, and right before we do our RPG Star Wars podcast, I think we're weird. I think we're safely weird.
All right.
So speaking of seeing things 500 times, so I couldn't think. I can never settle on a topic, and we always end up having really good conversation anyway. So what I thought we might do. I gave you a little homework. Yep. Actually, I asked you to go get your textbook.
Yeah, I have it. I have my textbook here.
The textbook I asked Jimmy to get is the Star Wars annotated screenplays.
Yes, we have it.
Yes.
Do you have it? We both have it. This is a great book.
Copy. And so what I wanted to do was to spur conversation.
Yes.
We are going to randomly flip to a page.
Oh.
We're going to read the scene.
Ooh.
We're going to pick a character or characters in the scene. We don't have to go on forever.
Wow.
And then we're going to read the scene, and then we're going to see what conversation that spurs from the scene, whether it's from our own experiences at the time or afterwards or in universe, out of universe, whatever comes to mind.
Okay.
What do you think of that?
Well, I like that a lot.
Right.
I like that a real lot. This book, this book is something that I know Jason Swank he used to refer to this as the Bible, the Star Wars annotated screenplays by Lauren Bozaru. It came out in 1997. And what's amazing about this book is it's the first time that we had in print, officially released in book form, notes taken from George Lucas's early screenplays and handwritten notes and everything going back to the original rough draft for Star Wars from May 1973 all the way through the final script that they used for filming, which was March 15th, 1976. Oh, no, I'm sorry. The revised fourth draft includes a change in Greedo dialogue. February 5th, 1977. He was still tweaking the Greedo dialogue.
That fucking Greedo scene. God damn it. He's been messing with that for 60 years.
So, there was a revised, the revised fourth draft. The fourth draft went through a couple of revisions. So you can say just the revised fourth draft was the final. Okay. The final draft of all of them. But it all started with a bunch of notes that George started scribbling down. Going back, there was synopsises and handwritten lists of planets and characters and an outline called Journal of the Wills. And there's some reports that say George started working on that stuff as early as like 1970, 1971. So he had the idea bouncing around in his head for a while. Mm-hmm. And they took all of these rough drafts and screenplays and earlier drafts, and they sort of juxtapose that with actual excerpts from the final script itself, the final lockdown shooting script. It's all here. But then, so they'll just take a scene, any scene, and they'll explain it's kind of the evolution of that scene, what it looked like in the rough draft, what it can be, it can relate to as far as rough draft and earlier drafts go. But I mean, there's just so many differences between George Lucas's first draft. The first three drafts, the rough draft, the first draft, and the second draft are vastly different from the final film we see. By the third draft, we start to get into more familiar territory. And there are certain things that were in existence from the rough draft all the way through to the film itself, like the cantina and the trash compactor sequence. But the characters involved in those scenes and the dialogue they said and the situations and all of that were vastly different. It's just those environments existed going all the way back. So, okay, I like what you're saying here. This book, the annotated screenplays, represent the original trilogy. I remember the day I discovered this book because back in the mid-90s, the internet was still in its infancy, and we weren't getting the heads up about Star Wars things until a lot of times they actually appeared on the shelves. And this is one of those things. I was working just down the street from a Borders bookstore, and it was during how about that? It was during a lunch break. And so I cruised into that place and I discovered this. And I was like, holy smokes. I'm like, this is the mother load. And so I took this back to work, I remember. And I don't think I accomplished much in the second half of my workday.
Yeah, no work the rest of that day.
No, I was just poring over this. And it was great. Summer of 97.
Yeah.
And that's when a lot of interest in Star Wars was really beginning to ramp up. You had the special editions came out earlier that year. We knew the prequels were on the way. Merchandise was beginning to come back in the form of action figures and comic books, magazines.
Shadows of the Empire was out,
Shadows.
Right? Was that around?
Yeah, Shadows was about a year old at this point.
Yeah.
So, the machine was really starting to hum once again. And then this sucker goes, we're thinking toward the future and everything. And then this book comes out that really breaks down the earliest versions of Star Wars. And it just felt like you were in George Lucas's office and he handed over his famous notebook to you and you were just kind of flipping through it. So that's my setup for the book. It's always had a cherished spot in my Star Wars library, and I still reference it to this day. but you want to have a little fun with it.
Yeah, let's have a little fun with it.
So we're going to,
and we can talk, like I said, we talk about anything. We talk about the stuff that they talk about.
Yeah.
In the book, whatever we want.
Well, that's what we should do. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So why don't we take turns? Let me start.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And I'm gonna just randomly, I'm gonna try to land somewhere in A New Hope.
Okay.
And I'm gonna start from back to front, just kind of flipping through the pages. I'm gonna stop randomly.
Okay.
And the nice thing is that these are broken up into little chunks. These scenes, so there's a natural starting and a natural break point for us. Okay. So I'll start. Ready? Here we go. Back to front.
Stop. I say stop, and then you have to stop. So stop.
Exterior. Tatooine. Rock Canyon. Floor.
All right. You have to tell me what page you're on.
It's page 31.
Page 31, folks. So if you have your book at home, you can play along with us.
Yeah. Page 31. You could read along with us in your book.
All right. Who are you going to be?
You will know it is time to turn the page when Jimmy says, "What's a mod?"
What's a mod?
I'm going to be. Who do you want to be?
I want to be 3PO.
Okay, I'll be Luke, and then
let me see if there's some stuff I could put on my voice.
Do you want to do R2 sounds?
R2 sounds?
Yeah. Or do you want to just read it?
Beep, 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 beep. Beep, beep, beep. Yeah, you do it. You do R2.
All right, okay.
All right.
I'll do R2.
Hold on. Let me just see if I... Oh my. May the force be with us. Oh, okay.
That's good. That's
All right,
good. It really sounds like the droid's audiobook.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah. Anthony Daniels was not available for this performance. Wait, we got the understudy? This sucks.
Yeah. Who do we got? Some guy, Jimmy Mac.
Huh. How rude. Screw you, pal. Okay.
Ichuta. All right.
Ichuta.
Exterior, Tatooine, Rock Canyon floor. The speeder is parked on the floor of a massive canyon. Luke runs up to stand before little R2. Hey, whoa, just where do you think you're going? Wait, hold on. Gotta wet my lips.
Oh, wait, are you going to read the direction too?
No, I'm just doing them.
Oh, okay.
I'm either going to do them or I'm going to read it. I'm not going to do them.
Well, because it says the little droid whistles a feeble reply as 3PO poses menacingly behind the little runway.
Yeah, but I'm only going to if there's R2 dialogue involved, then I'm just going to do R2 dialogue and then we'll skip the stage directions.
All right, here we go.
All right, we're doing back from the top, or you can pick from there.
No, I need I need you to lead me in. Yeah, right, you got to set me up here.
Exterior. No, I'll do. You know what? That'll also be in George. Exterior, Tatooine, Rock Canyon, floor. Oh, the speeder is parked on the floor of a massive canyon. Luke runs up to stand before little R2. Hey, whoa! Just where do you think you're going?
Master Luke is your rightful owner now. We'll have no more of this Obi-Wan Kenobi gibberish. And don't talk to me of your mission either. We're fortunate he doesn't blast you into a million pieces right here.
No, it's all right, but I think we better go. What's wrong with him now?
There are several creatures approaching from the southeast.
Mm-hmm. Sand people, or worse. Come on, let's go have a look. Come on. Exterior. Exterior. Tatooine, Rock Canyon, Ridge, day. Luke carefully makes his way to the top of a rock ridge and scans the canyon with his electro binoculars. He spots two riderless banthas. 3PO struggles up behind the young adventurer. Well, there are two banthas down there, but I don't see any. Wait a second. They're sand people, all right. I can see one of them now.
Whoa!
Whoa!
When he falls, he makes that noise. Okay, so now he's there. He has one arm. Oh, Ben! Yeah. Here comes Ben.
So you want to stop there? You want to keep going? You want to break, or you want to keep going?
Hello there. Come here, my little friend. Don't be afraid. Oh, don't worry. He'll be all right. Rest easy, son. You've had a busy day. You're fortunate to be all in one piece.
Ben? Ben Kenobi? Boy, am I glad to see you.
The Judlin ways are not to be traveled lightly. Tell me, young Luke, what brings you out this far?
Oh, this little droid. I think he's searching for his former master, but I've never seen such devotion in a droid before. He claims to be the property of an Obi-Wan Kenobi. Is he a relative of yours? Do you know who he's talking about?
Obi-Wan Kenobi. Oh, shit.
I'm just doing the music.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to step on R2's line. Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan. Now that's a name I've not heard in a long time.
I think my uncle knows him. He said he was dead.
Oh, he's not dead. Oh, not yet.
You know him?
Of course I know him. He's me. I haven't gone by the name of Obi-Wan since before you were born.
Well, then the droid does belong to you.
I don't ever seem to remember owning a droid. Very interesting.
He suddenly looks up at the overhanging cliffs.
What is so interesting about that's R2-D2? Don't you remember him from the prequels?
Liar!
I think we better get indoors. The Sand people are easily startled, but they'll soon be back, and in greater numbers.
Luke gets up. 3PO.
Oh, is that my line? Wait, where are we? Oh, okay, here we are. Where am I? I must have taken a bad step. Oh my God, it's Obi-Wan Kenobi. I have not seen you since the prequels. Remember me, C-3PO? Remember with Padme? Don't you remember? Oh, wait. My mind was wiped. I forgot about that. I'm back to being stupid again. Here I am.
Well, can you stand? We've got to get out of here before the sand people return.
I don't think I can make it. You go on, Master Luke. There's no sense in you risking yourself on my account. I'm done for.
No, you're not. What kind of talk is that?
Quickly, they're on the move. Oh, geez, I'm a droid now. Quickly.
You are a droid.
No, that's me. I'm the droid. Oh. Quickly, they're on the move. I took his line. I'm taking his line. I'm taking over.
So obviously that one begs the whole, in retrospect, in hindsight, what was Obi-Wan thinking when he said he doesn't seem to ever remember owning a droid, let alone art?
I don't
remember all the loose wire jokes.
Remember that?
I didn't say anything.
Well, it's not like I took a photo of him and had it hanging up on my cave wall all those years. You know, remember I buried my lightsabers in the sand? I kind of, I got a little rusty in the Force there for a few years.
Right, you did bury them in the sand.
Yeah, I may have forgotten a few things in those years. Yeah. You know, when the streaming series happened, I was kind of a dummy, you know.
Okay, then what about R2? R2 remembered.
Well,
3PO had his memory wiped. We know that.
Yes.
But R2 should have remembered.
Yeah. But he
was unusually discreet.
What is the reason for that? Wouldn't R2 just started beeping like frantically? 3PO, you don't remember him because they wiped your memory, but this guy was really good friends with Anakin Skywalker, who is now Darth Vader. Like R2 spoils the whole movie for everyone.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's why he doesn't say anything, too. Maybe he knows that 3PO is going to repeat it.
Yeah, right.
And spill the beans.
Oh, my.
Especially with the Anakin Skywalker thing.
Oh, I've got a top scoop. I know the plot of the entire film. And I'm going to spoil it for you before it's even released. This is pre-internet, too, by the way. I'm a trendsetter. Oh, my. Somebody call Init Cool News. 3PO has a scoop.
3PO. Well, first of all, I want to applaud you. I think you did a fabulous job.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
But I'm putting you under the gun. I gave Jimmy Mac no warning about this stupid idea of mine. By the way. So
well, I mean, this is the rare podcast. You know, we're recording in the middle of the afternoon, so I am completely sober.
So am I.
You know, most times I'm doing this show, I'm absolutely wasted. I mean, just I keep a bucket by me during the show just in case. because I have the barf bags from the barf gang, but sometimes that's not good enough.
Yeah, you have no idea how blended Jimmy usually is.
Hey, Jason. Hey, Star Wars fans. You can hear it, So, all right. Well, thank you. And thank you. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, cast.
Ooh. It is kind of fun to make that noise, though, with the sound effect. I could just all day. All right. So we got to, I lost my page. We're on like 31.
No, it's page 31. 31. I got you.
All right. Well, so here's, they lay out some of the differences here. Well, first off, the book discusses the Sand People. And it says the Sand People or Tusken Raiders. See, that's one of these things that I think I noted very early in the existence of Star Wars. It's just how fleshed out the worlds all were. Certain things had two names, like Sand People, which was just slang, but they were known as Tusken Raiders, which is also kind of slang. We don't know what the Sand People actually refer to themselves as.
Right. That's true. Yeah, even after Boba Fett. Book of Boba Fett, we don't know.
Right. Maybe just like native Tatooine people or something. Like they just consider themselves to be the. And
the history of Star Wars, the Star Wars galaxy is so old that they could have been settlers too, from colonists from way back who just descended into this culture after, if they were stranded or something over time.
See, I don't know if I think that. I just think that they're just very primitive people who were, they just never really were affected by technology. Mm-hmm. And so they were just very primitive people, and they fought to keep it that way because they were religious people and they believed in respecting the land, respecting the sun.
Now, did you think that as a kid back in the day?
Yeah, I kind of had that
feeling. They were religious,
feeling.
That they were kind of...
But also they were, they were predators too, though, when it came to the other people they were sharing the planet with, like the farmers and settlers. They would attack them. Yeah. Yeah. And so that never set well with me. Why they were so aggressive. They're fueled by aggression, which makes them naturally scary. Yeah, so thus the friction between them and the actual settlers. They're called Tusken Raiders because there was a structure that was built by settlers on Tatooine called Fort Tusken.
Fort Tusken, yes. Oh yeah.
Ding 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 ding.
Remember Fort Tusken from Star Wars Galaxies? Used to be a place where players went to die.
I never played that.
It was kind of like one of the dungeons essentially, and you would spend about an hour gathering other players, buffing up your characters so that they could survive, and you try to go through the back door, and it was like the invasion of Normandy because there was this little one entryway. And players were just getting mowed down one after the other as they were just trying to get in.
Yeah, okay.
To Fort Tusken. So if you made it in, that was a win. It was a rough game. Wow. It was it was not a user-friendly game, but it was a blast. You had a lot of good memories.
Yeah, I never logged on to
Fort Tusken.
Fort Tusken. So, but it's as the annotated screenplays tell us, the Sand People first appeared in the third draft, and as in the film, Luke is attacked by one of them. The difference in this draft is after he'd been taken prisoner, Luke is left hanging 10 feet in the air. Large gold bracelets with small antenna are attached to his wrists and ankles. He is spread eagle. I mean, that's what Lauren Bozeru said in the book, okay?
We're just reading.
I mean, legs akimbo might have been a more gentler way to put it. And slowly rotating. Oh, so he's like, like he's like a rotisserie chicken.
It's a shawarma.
R2 approaches with a pita. Sorry. R2 tries to free him with a wire he gets from the speeder's engine compartment. So R2 goes and he to the land speeder and he yanks out a wire.
Yeah.
And then approaches Luke and says, "Hey, look, I know you're in quite a predicament up there with the ankles and the wrists being held down and you're spinning around, but I got a wire here. This wire here will really take care of all of our problems, Luke. I got a wire, you see. Wire." And then Ralph McQuarrie gets quoted here. George described the Tusken Raiders to me as nomads in the desert, Bedouin type of people. I could have created some alien type creatures, but I simply decided to give them this mask instead. I knew they were going to have to live in dust storms, and I decided they were aliens that required an adaptive sort of breathing device to make their life on Tatooine possible. So, yeah, they're not really... So they're not, according to Ralph, native to the planet. But so this right. More or less.
So take back what you said to me before poo-pooing my ideas.
Ralph says it all right there. That they're not like naturally born on Tatooine. They must have come from somewhere else. Aliens.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if for all intents and purposes, though, if they've been here for thousands of years before the modern settlers of the Star Wars universe, then they are kind of the natives. It's all becomes very malleable when you're dealing with a history that goes back that far. I love the idea that he did the masks. It was like the George Lucas version of the still suits from Dune. To be able to survive in the desert with a suit that would help you do so.
Right. I always liked that little canister he put under their chin. Always reminded me of those Alpine dogs that would have the whiskey on the little barrel underneath there.
Yeah, the St. Bernards, right?
People are lining up for Star Wars, and everybody is excited, especially the Rebel Force Radio podcast.
Yeah, those podcasts are great. I got to get this podcast.
Your source for the Force.
It's that time of year again. The leaves are starting to change. Football is in the air. Fall always feels like a reset. Between back to school, busier routines, and shorter days, finding time to cook can be tough. That's why we here at Rebel Force Radio love Factor. Their chef-prepared, dietitian-approved meals make it easy to stay on track and enjoy something comforting and delicious no matter how hectic your season will get. With Factor, you get more variety, more meals. You can choose from a wider selection of weekly meal options, including premium seafood choices like salmon and shrimp at no extra cost. The seafood lover in me loves Factor. With Factor, you can support your wellness goals. Enjoy more GLP-1 friendly meals and new Mediterranean diet options packed with protein and good-for-you fats. With Factor, you can go international and savor global flavors. For the first time, try Asian-inspired meals with bold flavors influenced by China, Thailand, and more. From more choices to better nutrition, that's why 97% of customers say Factor helped them live a healthier life. Feel the difference, no matter your routine. We love Factor, we use Factor, and you should too. Factor supports Rebel Force Radio, so we want you to support Factor. Eat smart at factormeals.com/RFR50off and use the code RFR50off to get 50% off your first box, plus free breakfast for 1 year. That's code RFR50off at factormeals.com for 50% off your first box, plus free breakfast for 1 year. Get delicious, ready-to-eat meals delivered with Factor. Offer only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. To continue, in the third draft, R2 is desperately trying to save Luke, who's been taken prisoner by the Tusken Raiders and is hanging in air. Suddenly, a shabby old desert rat of a man who appears to be at least 70 years old shows up. He has an accent, leathery, cracked, and weathered face, dark, penetrating eyes, and a scraggly white beard. I always thought Ben was like 70 years old as well.
Me too.
I think that comes across, even though Alec Guinness was only in his mid-60s at the time. Just the appearance of Obi-Wan Kenobi, he appeared, Ben, I should say, he appeared to be 70 years.
Yeah, so, even now, looking back, because you've got those young eyes when you look, everybody looks older, like Luke looked like he was a 30-year-old adult to my eyes as a kid.
Right. They would always call him boy.
And I'm like, kid. I'm like, he's not a kid. He's a man.
Yeah.
But even now, looking back at Alec Guinness in that role, it's like he's like 70s, 70. I mean, if 70, you can understand why he can do the things he does as a 70-year-old in 2025, but he still looks 70.
Right. So the age, but in reality, the way the story all gets rolled out is Obi-Wan Kenobi was considerably younger. Yeah. He's like 50, maybe mid 50s at best.
Yeah. I'm 52. You're like 94.
No, I'm not. 94.
Yeah. Oh, by the way,
no, you got the numbers mixed around. I'm 49.
49,
yes.
98.
Just enough with the ages. I want to talk about fictional characters and their fictional ages.
I want to wish you a happy birthday.
I don't want to talk about podcaster ages.
Wishing you a happy birthday,
right, well, thank you.
Off, okay? Happy birthday.
So because of that, now we have to go to the birthday gift I got from RFR VIP, Scott St. Louis.
Yes.
Star Wars dad
jokes. Read us a Star Wars dad joke.
Did you know Han Solo doesn't believe in Santa? He's a rebel without a clause.
I like it. It's a dad
you know
joke.
what? That one's actually okay.
It's a dad joke.
I'm going to use in December. It's more effective. All right, one more, because that one actually was a good one. Yeah. A Padawan tried to build a lightsaber with a hilt on each end, but it was pointless. All right, I'm closing the book now.
All right.
Enough of that. Should have gone out on a high with the rebel without a clause.
That's all right. I think read one at each Q&A.
No.
Okay, don't.
No. You're a VIP, but you don't have those powers over me. You can't. You're not my dad. You can't tell me what to do.
If you want to take a good idea, that's fine. I mean,
listen.
Leave that on the floor. It's
okay. I have the book again, and we're gonna. Okay, so Ben shows up. Ancient, leathery, cracked, and weathered face. Yes, in the final film. Yeah. Dark, penetrating eyes. I would say he had penetrating eyes, yeah. And a scraggly white beard. Check, and check.
Yeah, very, very Gandalf.
Yeah, so the entire visual concept for Ben Kenobi is pretty much solidified by the third draft.
Yeah.
In his early notes, George Lucas described Ben as an eccentric but kindly old man trying to make a comeback. He has the James Bond-like quality of always being in control. He's very sure of himself and always comes out ahead, regardless of the danger. Okay, that's pretty consistent with the Ben we get.
I don't know. I don't know.
He doesn't always come out ahead. I mean, that's... But he does seem very much in control.
James Bond...
Well, he said James Bond like quality of always being in control. Now, Bond,
it's not like the Jundland ways shall not to be traveled lightly.
But it's like, James always has a plan for something.
That's
okay,
true.
you go in there and you unprogram this, and I'll climb through the vents. And,
I will concede that. I don't get also the eccentric part. There was I always got the hint that what was one of the lines where. There was maybe we'll get to it later, but I never got that eccentric.
Well, to the locals, they probably thought he was, because some people witnessed him doing insane things. So he gained this reputation as a wizard.
But I think they meant him to be eccentric to us, the audience, because they even say that the Luke is quite different from the way it is in all subsequent drafts and in the film, and is somewhat reminiscent of the first interaction of Luke and Yoda have in The Empire Strikes Back. Ben laughs when he sees Luke hanging in the air. He then takes out a laser pistol and frees the young man. Luke has no idea that Ben is the man he is looking for, and in order to maintain the air of credibility, he lies and says he is Officer Luke Starkiller. So he's obviously got more of that Yoda.
Yeah. Well, yeah. He's more. He's kind of giving the young buck a laughing at the mess he got himself into.
But you're right. To us, though, I think he does have that James Bond, like he is always kind of in control.
He's always in control, and I think he is kind of eccentric. He lives out on the edge of the Dune Sea by himself as a hermit. It's just kind of, it's strange. It's just strange behavior.
Yeah.
He's always by himself. People probably see like Ben trying to reach out in the Force, communicate with Yoda, and they see him talking to himself, and they're like, this wizard's a crazy old man, So, and so think about that next time you see someone at the bus stop, just like standing there talking to
on my way to work.
Yeah, might be like, well, he might be communicating with the Jedi Master on the other side of the galaxy. So
could be
who looks more foolish. So yeah, they talk about Ben with the laser pistol. Oh, and also you say Luke has no idea that Ben is the man he's looking for. That's like Yoda. And in order to maintain an air of credibility, he lies and says he's Officer Luke Starkiller, because he's still Luke Sky. He's Starkiller in this one. That to me reminds me of Finn in The Force Awakens.
Right.
When he introduces himself to Rey as a
big deal.
Big deal in the Resistance. Ben introduces himself as Ben Kenobi, former commander of the White Legions. Luke is, of course, shocked. He apologizes and tells Ben that he knows his Diary of the Clone Wars book by heart and that he is the son of Anakin Starkiller. In fact, Ben knew all along who Luke was.
You saw through me?
Luke asks, and Ben replies, "You could put it that way," giving a hint, giving a hint that he has unusual powers.
Classic dialogue.
So yeah, commander of the White Legions. Is that like a sect of the Jedi Knight, or is that like a division in the Republic Army that was fighting in the Clone Wars?
Of course, retroactively, I can't help but think of clone troopers, in their early white armor. I mean, of course, that's not what, I don't think that's what they meant at the time, but that's where my brain goes in 2025.
Yeah. And Ben wrote a book called Diary of the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
How that hasn't been made into a book yet, I'll never know.
So does he mean he knows Ben's Diary of the Clone Wars, or he knows his copy of Diary of the Clone Wars?
Luke is, of course, shocked and apologizes and tells Ben that he knows his Diary of the Clone Wars by heart.
Right. Like I know my Attack of the Clones, when people talk to a certain...
No, I really think this
I know my Star Wars.
I really think we'll have to pull up the third draft online and see, because we're not getting the exact dialogue here. We're just I've been doing this long enough to know Jimmy's exasperated look. Well, I mean, I think that the book is clearly saying that Ben wrote that book, Diary of the Clone Wars.
I read it differently.
Okay, but now I'm sort of seeing it your way, so I don't know.
Either way, the point is taken that Luke has this book, obviously Ben's part of it, and there's an association between the two of them, and Luke has read it cover to cover and memorized it.
That would be an interesting comic or something that Marvel could do, Diary of the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
And it's all from Ben's perspective. Also notable is that they strictly refer to him as just Ben in he says the Obi-Wan stuff, right? Oh, but that's the final draft. In the third draft, he's still known as, I think, just Ben. I don't think the Obi-Wan name had been developed yet, because he introduces himself as Ben Kenobi, and so he wouldn't say Obi-Wan Kenobi, but that's the third draft.
Right.
Obi-Wan. That's a name I've never heard before.
I've never heard of.
And definitely not for a long time.
Now, I'm going to push you ahead to page 34, because this is nagging at me. This George Lucas quote on the top of page 34, which I'm calling BS on.
Okay, here it is.
I think it's one of his like oh, it's the way it was all along.
All right. Well, are you going to read it? If you read it, you have to read it as George Lucas.
All right. I wanted the father to be Darth Vader, but I also wanted a father figure. So I created Ben as the other half. You have one who is the light half and one who is the dark half, the positive and the negative. This sort of gave a twist to the whole story. I don't think I call him bull on that one.
Wait, I wanted the father to be Darth Vader, but I also wanted a father figure. So I created Ben as the other half. Oh, so you're saying that, like, George, this is one of his quotes that in retrospect, he's trying to make it look like he had this all figured out at the time.
Yeah, but as he was delivering this baby of Star Wars, that, you know, he knew all along that Vader was the father, that he, you know, in this movie. So, but he needed somebody more immediate for Luke. And I think that called BS.
Yeah,
I think it still works out that way.
It's hard to say.
Works out that way, but remember, but then my memory was always that in interviews with him during Star Wars to Jedi, that there's a quote of George where he says he was questioning whether or not he wanted to go through with Vader being the father.
Yeah,
and then he decided no, that was the. And although he does say that was the story all along, so maybe I just argued against myself.
No, there's evidence though that proves that George he intended Luke's father and Darth Vader to be two different people. And that is when Luke arrives at the Yavin base and he sees Biggs and they hang out, and then the Red Leader comes by. And you don't see it now because they cut this part out.
I know what you're talking about.
He says that he met Luke's father once when he was a child. He said, I met your father once. If you're anything like the pilot like he was, then you'll do just fine.
That's right.
So that means that so if you want to look at it, he's saying he met Anakin Skywalker when he was a kid.
Right.
Presumably when Anakin Skywalker was fighting in the Clone Wars. Right?
That's where my brain goes.
But does it really negate George's plan?
No, it doesn't, because it only reinforces it.
Yeah,
you know, he's like, well, why would I put that in there if I didn't know?
Right.
That's an awful coincidence. But
yeah, I guess so. Now that I think of it, because I'm just thinking in the way we were thinking about the characters back in 1977. When there was another guy. Yeah, right? There was clearly a separation.
It was a separate guy who was his father and got killed by and betrayed and killed by, like, I always kind of thought that Vader was like their third pal. You know, like they were, like, there was like three of them, and the third one, you know, turned and betrayed them. But they were close.
So, maybe George did always really have that idea kicking around.
Here it is, page 92.
92.
Turn to page 92. And we'll start from the top there. Biggs.
Oh. We got the whole shebang here.
Yeah. All right, I'll read Biggs and Red Leader.
Wait, why is that? Because you've already established yourself as Luke.
Yeah, but I want to change it up.
But that's like really throwing a curveball. I mean,
all right, fine.
It's like
then I'll be Luke and be everybody else.
The insanity of doing something like that would be like taking the same actor who played Iron Man and then casting him as Dr. Doom. That's insane. Who would do something like that?
It's just like that. Okay, let's just read. Okay, go ahead, Biggs. Read him.
Luke, I don't believe it. How'd you get here? Are you going out with us?
Biggs! Of course, I'll be right up there with you. Listen, if I got some stories for you.
Oh, you're not doing the...
No, you're doing them. I'm just doing Luke. That would be crazy for me to do everybody else.
But I thought you were doing the setups though, as George Lucas. How are people supposed to know?
Okay, yeah. Red Leader, a rugged, handsome man in his 40s, comes up behind Luke and Biggs, and he has a confident smile of a born leader.
George, do you need an oxygen tank or anything like that?
Where are you, pilot?
All right, here comes Red Leader.
All right.
Are you Luke Skywalker? Have you been checked out on the Incom T-65? Sir, Luke is the best bush pilot in the Outer Rim territories.
Pilot leader pats Luke on the back as they stop in front of his fighter.
I met your father once when I was just a boy. He was a great pilot. You'll do all right. If you've got half your father's skill, you'll do better than all right.
Thank you, sir. I'll try. Red Leader hurries to his own ship.
I've got to get aboard. Listen, you'll tell me your stories when we come back, all right?
I told you I'd make it someday, Biggs.
You did all right. It's going to be like old times, Luke. We're a couple of shooting stars that'll never be stopped.
Luke laughs and shakes his head in agreement.
So that was something that I think Biggs and Luke said to each other in the Anchorhead scenes that were deleted, that shooting stars line.
Yeah. They'll never stop us, Luke.
I remember that.
I think I could have done Biggs better, but you did all right.
Dude, you got to say the Biggs, though. You got to do that.
I did. I got to say the Biggs. I should stop being a whiny little brat.
We're a couple of shooting stars that'll never be stopped. That sounds like a lyric out of a Pointer Sisters song from 1974. That's a very
brand, right?
It's a very 70s kind of thing to say. I could see that on bumper stickers and everywhere. So, but okay, so there's that scene, and I guess it doesn't really paint George Lucas into a corner as much as I thought it did.
It doesn't at all, because it works either way, right? He really lucked out with that. He I think He lost out on the Leia Luke thing.
Yeah.
Made a couple of wrong turns there in the setup, but the rest of it is pretty tight. I'm not convinced, but I don't really have proof of that.
So we'll give George the benefit of the doubt.
You got to, because why not? It worked out.
I got it. My notebook right here. Look,
I got it right here.
I wrote it in 1975.
I don't know. It looks like he erased a part there, George, and wrote over it.
Oh, no. You don't know what you're talking about. That's why he always writes in pencil.
Yeah.
His
father equals Vader. His father equals Vader.
George always writes in pencil so he can, rewrite the history, which he famously is known for doing, or erasing people and things from the history. Oh, what's to say about Marcia Lucas? I'll just erase that.
That's gone.
Or John Dykstra, erase that. Charlie Lippincott, he's gone. Just erase them all. Erase them all. Gary Kurtz, goodbye. This is easier than I thought it would be. It explains a lot. It explains a lot. So
you want to pick another scene, or you want to linger on?
This is my turn.
More?
This is my turn. I think.
you got to do it.
I think we're done with that scene. But the scene does notably introduce the line of dialogue. Hello there. To the character of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and who knew?
I will say though, back to your point though of how fleshed out Tatooine was, for something that doesn't really have an effect on the rest of the story. It's just a play. It's just a It's a starting location. They're there. A few things happen. The heroes leave, and that's it. Mm-hmm. And yet, it was so ingrained in our memory. Mm-hmm. So well done, that planet, between the Tusken Raiders and the Jawa, and the way the Lars were living. And then you go to there's a city, with land speeder salesmen, and it was just so well done.
Well, well, don't ask Luke. I was really surprised when they went back to Tatooine for Return of the Jedi. That was the first time they actually went back to Tatooine.
Yeah.
And it was just such an interesting feeling at the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. Instead of seeing a big dark blob, I see a big bright blob. And Luke says, "Oh, believe me, you got nothing to see. I grew up here, remember?" It was almost as if telling us, like, boy, this place, it still sucks. Yeah. It still sucks. But it turns out it's one of the most popular locations in the history of Star Wars, and one that has been revisited countless numbers of times.
Yeah.
And any place that has pod racing and stuff like that, it's not all that bad. You got weird cantinas, pod racing. I'd sure like to visit this place. I'll tell you.
Yeah,
that
but
right
you
now.
also like I could see from Luke's point of view that if you compare it to a place like Coruscant,
yeah,
right,
of course.
Like for them, for us, it's like real. It's it's fleshed out. We believe it exists, but for them, it's like, yeah, it exists. So what?
Yeah.
I mean, so does a slum. It's like who likes it? It's just it's a
right.
It's an S-hole. Nobody wants to be there.
Yes.
And all the things that we find fascinating. Oh, great! I want to live in a place with killer Tuskens. That sounds great. Or these giant creatures who live under the sand that will just devour you like a slow bagel for 1,000 years. It's like. No, it does stink. I get it. In universe, it totally stinks.
But I mean, more importantly, Luke is the farm boy who wants to go to the big city.
He's trapped. He's trapped.
Yeah, it's a typical theme. I mean, you even see a little bit of that from Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. I mean, she's not really yearning to leave. To leave her family and friends and home or anything, but she's looking for something better because that mean old Karen down the street wants to take her dog away and have it put down because her dog bit her.
Right. Yeah.
And so I mean, she's looking for a better existence for her and her dog, and she ends up in the land of Oz, which is, puts her in very perilous situations, but it's better than just sitting around and going, well, what did Neil Young say? It's better to burn out than to fade away.
Yeah.
Luke
didn't have his no place like home moment though in Jedi. He was like, this place still sucks.
Right. Well, I mean, when his aunt and uncle got killed off, Luke said it best. There's nothing for me here.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
He had no sentimental. Yeah. I mean, that's true too. I mean, it was the site of their horrible murder.
The dating options are so slim.
Yeah.
And his friends are a-holes. He liked Biggs, but Biggs isn't around anymore.
But I get the sense too that if he had woken up in his bed and on Tatooine and it was all a dream.
Yeah.
And Owen and Beru were fine, I think he'd still be like, oh, it was just a dream. Like, I don't think he'd be like,
be disappointed.
You were there and there's no place like home. I think
he'd be disappointed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, all those things I accomplished. And I'm in love with my sister. And now that's all gone. But I mean, nobody knew the sister thing. That's something George totally whipped out. He pulled that one out on he made that on the fly because that was a loose end that he was planning to continue in like episode 7 or the next trilogy.
Yeah. Wasn't it supposed to be like a Rey-like character? Like there was a character, in the sense that there was a prodigy somewhere else that was kind of on deck on the other side of the galaxy or something.
Yoda seemed to think so.
Yeah.
But it all got shifted to Leia just out of convenience, so George could put the brakes on making Star Wars. It was burning him out. Yeah. And that's why he held off on making Star Wars for so long. And then in his early 50s, I guess he fired the machine back up again, thinking to himself, if I don't do it now, it's never going to get done, because he just felt like it was something he wouldn't be able to do as he got older. But as I've been prepping for Revenge of the Sith to come back out, I've been watching all these making of specials from that era. And George, during Revenge of the Sith, he looks like he's in pretty good shape. It looks like being so busy on those prequel films really did a lot of good for him. He looked like he'd lost a lot of weight. He seems very energetic.
Yeah, he does look good in these photos.
And his interactions with the actors and everything on set, maybe he's playing up for the camera or whatever, but it's a very loose and very friendly and funny George Lucas that I see in those behind the scenes clips. What are you showing me here?
Yeah, look, he looks good.
Yeah. Look at me. I'm doing that thing directors do when they hold their hands up in front of their face. I'm framing. Look at me. I'm framing. This is what
telling
directors
the DP
do.
how I want it to look.
First one I saw do this was Francis, and I was blown away. Said, I'm going to do that.
Then this is the one. This is the shot that I always remember from this book for some reason. I don't know why. This one. I like that shot.
It's just
and
a picture.
To your point, he looks really good.
Yeah, it's just George. He's on the set of Palpatine's office on Coruscant, and he's directing Palpatine and Mace Windu on their saber duel, and he's just sort of standing there, with the swords, laser swords. I still call it that. The fans call it lightsabers. Where do they get this crap from? I call it laser swords.
Yeah.
How come nobody has ever, corrected the stupid fans?
Yeah.
And the marketing and the dialogue in the film, and anything that calls it a lightsaber.
Swords. Rebel Force Radio.
Let's pick another. Go ahead. Pick another one.
Oh, okay. So we're playing Star Wars: The Annotated Screenplays Roulette.
Yeah.
Roulette.
Yeah.
Okay. And I landed on page 62. I'm on page 62.
Oh, 62.
All right.
62. Is that still in? That's still in New Hope.
It's Okay. New Hope is primarily the first 100 pages here. So
this is good. This is a good scene.
I love.
Okay, this is great. Okay, you Ben?
Yes, I am. Ben. Hold on. I just want to see if there's any setup for this scene that we should be talking about here. Where's it?
I have a bad feeling about this.
Well, this is right after that sequence. Okay, this next part we're going to do.
Okay,
they've discovered the Death Star, and they're just about ready to get pulled into the Death Star via the tractor beam. So here we go.
All right, you're Ben, and what? I'm Han and Luke.
Oh no, you can't be Han and Luke.
Come on. All right.
No, there's a whole bunch of voices here. We have to divvy these up.
All right. Okay.
Because
you're going to give me officer.
Okay, you are officer if that's what you want.
Here. I'm going to be magnanimous. I will be Luke, and I will be all the scrubs on the Death Star, and Tarkin.
What? Okay. Oh, and
Vader.
You
get to be.
I get Vader.
Ben and Han.
I get Vader too because I got the effect on my voice, and he only says a couple.
All
things.
Right. Fair enough. You get to be Vader. I'll be Tarkin, the officers, and Luke.
Yeah, that's a pretty meaty grouping of characters there for you. I think this is split up.
Also, I feel for the day players, so I'm going to be them. Okay.
I'm Ben, Han, and Vader.
And
then you're all the other voices.
I'm every else. Okay.
Make sure they're British voices too.
Oh, I got it.
All right. I'm just giving you some.
All right.
Just easy, direct. That was just a suggestion.
All right. You just make sure you're good. I'll worry about me. All right. All right.
These actors.
Yeah. Tell me.
All right. Turn the ship around. Yeah, I think you're right. Full reverse. Chewie, lock in the auxiliary power.
The pirate ship shudders. The TIE fighter accelerates away towards the gargantuan battle station.
Chewie, lock in the auxiliary power.
Why are we still moving towards it?
We're caught in a tractor beam. It's pulling us in.
There's got to be something you can do.
There's nothing I can do about it, kid. I'm full power. I'm going to have to shut down. They're not going to get me without a fight. You can't win, but there are alternatives to fighting.
Interior Millennium Falcon, Death Star. As the battered starship is towed closer to the awesome metal moon, the immense size of the massive battle station becomes staggering. Running along the equator of the gigantic sphere is a mile-high band of huge docking ports into which the helpless pirate ship is dragged. Interior Death Star, huge port doors. The helpless Millennium Falcon is pulled past a docking port control room and the huge laser turret cannons.
Clear Bay 3207. We are opening the magnetic field.
Interior Death Star docking bay 3207. As the pirate ship is pulled through the port doors of the Death Star, stormtroopers stand at attention in central assembly area.
To your stations. Come with me.
Stormtroopers run to their posts. A line of stormtroopers marches towards the pirate ship, which has come to rest in a huge hangar, in readiness to board it, while other troopers stand with weapons ready to fire.
Close all our outboard shields. close all our outboard shields.
Tarkin responds to a intercom buzz and pushes a button. Yes?
We've captured a freighter entering the remains of the Alderaan system. Its marking matched those of the ship that blasted its way out of Mos Eisley.
They must be trying.
What?
Hold on. What? They must be trying to return the stolen plans to the princess. She may yet be of some use to us.
Interior Death Star Docking Bay 3207. Vader and a commander approach the troops as an officer, and several heavily armed troops exit the spacecraft.
Unlock 157 and 9 release charges.
There's no one aboard, sir. According to the log, the crew abandoned ship right after takeoff. It must be a decoy, sir. Several of the escape pods have been jettisoned.
Did you find any droids?
No, sir. If they were on board, they must also have been jettisoned.
Send a scanning crew aboard. I want every part of the ship checked.
Yes, sir.
I sense something. A presence I've not felt since.
Vader turns quickly and exits the hangar. Get me a scanning crew here on the double. I want every part of this ship checked.
All right, that's it.
All right, very good.
So a couple things here. Why?
Also, I want it noted, the only British accent was Tarkin. The rest of them, they were all American voices, American voiceovers.
Why'd you do that way?
Because that's the way they were in the movie.
I guess you're right. You're right.
Yeah, I know. I am right on that one.
What? Okay.
What?
At the beginning of the scene, Chewie lock in the auxiliary power, and then they kind of cut away and show the Falcon, and then it cut back to the cockpit. Chewie lock in the auxiliary power. I was like, why did they repeat that line? Why didn't Chewie just lock in the auxiliary power the first time?
I thought he did, and it just wasn't working. I thought he did, and Han didn't realize that they were like Han. It took a couple of seconds for them to piece it together that they were caught in a tractor beam. Because Luke is like, why are we still moving towards it? And Han says, oh, that's when we're caught in the tractor beam. So I thought like when his big paw comes and he pulls it, I thought that was like the second time he did it. He's like, I'm doing it.
So yeah, there's different ways of interpreting that. It was a weird edit, which is something that I always thought for the longest time until we started getting access to these scripts and things.
Yeah.
Or Chewie did lock in the auxiliary power, but they kept moving toward the Death Star because it was already caught in the tractor beam, and Han wasn't really sure of that at that moment. So he asked Chewie to do it again.
The pirate ship shudders, which indicates that there's a reaction to something the Falcon is doing, which I think is in reaction to a command that Chewie gave to the ship.
Okay, so Chewie did it. So Han didn't have to ask him to do it twice. It's just auxiliary power was ineffective because the Death Star had already operated its tractor beam.
Yeah.
But I just wish there was something about the line when he says it the second time, like, Chewie, you got fur in your ears? Lock in the auxiliary power already. And then Chewie say,
I got that.
You did. Oh, you did. Okay. All right. Oh, you did.
You wanted Phantom Menace writing.
I want exposition up the wazoo, pal. I need everything. I need my hand held here. Why is he telling Chewie twice? Is Chewie a bad listener? Does Chewie not take orders very well? What's going on here?
Yeah, I liked it because I thought it was just like Han's he's just such a crab. Like he's got to he's kind of panicking. You know, it's like it's not going well.
Right.
So he blames it on Chewie, and Chewie's like, I did it. You know, what do you want? Oh, here, I'm doing it here. I'll do it again. So you can see it this time.
As an impatient kid, I also got very distracted by I sense something. A presence I've not felt since.
Really? You got...
I was like, hey, finish that sentence. Finish that flippant sentence. You're leaving us hanging here. Not cool.
Since the Diary of the Clone War.
Yes. Do you remember that book?
Yeah, yeah.
My old master wrote that book.
We did want that, but I always loved that he didn't, because it made me hungry to know what.
Yeah. But I also didn't get the idea that he was sort of trailing off at that moment. I felt like he just finished the sentence like, I've not felt since. Since what?
Oh,
what they didn't finish writing his line. He turned around before.
You didn't hear the ellipses.
No.
A presence I've not felt
That's
since.
frustrating. That would be very frustrating.
Since what? Dude, I'm only 10 years old. Help me out
have
here.
To have something to refer back to it. Like, I felt that in the Clone War, and that's a presence I haven't felt since.
But he does clarify later in the film, though, when he's talking to Tarkin and he says, it's a presence I've not felt. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, so now it's since we know what that
of my
sense
old
is.
master. He says old master. I say old master. So shut up, kid. I've completed my thought later in the film.
Well, we know it's old master, but we also have to retcon when it was. Because now we know. We saw it.
Yeah.
You forgot the series already.
Well, no, wait a second now. What are you even talking about? His a president I've not felt. Oh, you're talking about the Kenobi thing. But that doesn't matter either way. At first.
Well, it moved everything. Yeah, it does matter because it totally reshapes the references in that scene. And when they, in fact, let's go to that scene. Let's go to when they meet. I'm going to make an executive call right now.
Okay.
Because that scene, it doesn't change, but it gets altered.
Okay. So we're not done with that other scene yet, and
we are because this is important. See, this spurred us forward.
Okay, but I forgot what there might have been some fun facts we could have shared about that.
We'll go
other
back
scene.
to it. We'll go back to it. Okay, this is important.
I can't remember the page.
It's 61, and then
Isn't that how old you are? 61.
Close. I'm close.
Your birthday's 61.
I'm going to be there.
Another great song lyric from Neil Young was "Old Man, Look at My Life." I'm a lot like you. Okay, where is this meeting here between Darth Vader?
Okay.
Run, Luke, run. Okay, I found it.
I know. No,
I'm at the end of it.
Okay, here we go. Okay, page 79. Now I remember your scene was on 61. Okay.
Wow.
All right.
Okay, it's
so
not even 20.
You want to be
pages
Vader or Ben? You can't be both.
Oh, that's right. I've been Ben. So you can be Ben now. I'll be.
We don't have to go through the whole thing because, but just a few lines because I think that those kind of change. That changed a little bit, altered a little bit with the Obi-Wan series. Okay,
all right. Well, you're going to start with. We're going to start with Vader.
Okay. Yeah. So go ahead.
All right. Not all that setup with all that other stuff going.
No. Just right where he says right after Ben moves along the tunnel to the hangar for the pirate ship. Ben also ignites his and steps slowly forward.
I've been waiting for you, Obi-Wan. We meet again at last. The circle is now complete.
Ben Kenobi moves with elegant ease into a classical offensive position.
When I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master.
Only a master of evil, Darth. Yeah. And then ba-bam, and then we'll just cut right to your line for expediency.
Your powers are weak, old man.
You can't win, Darth. If you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
You should not.
Laser swords continue.
Oh, I'll wait for my cue.
No, go ahead. You're good.
You should not have come back.
Okay, so I know we've touched on this in the main show before, but this is it. This is the scene that we used to think was in some before Revenge of the Sith. It was in our imaginations. Then it was on Mustafar. Now it got moved. All of that dialogue references moved to the Kenobi series.
Okay, I mean when we first saw it, we just assumed, well, that's the last time. When you always assumed, even before the prequels, because George Lucas had told Rolling Stone magazine in 1977 that Vader is the way he is because he and Obi-Wan had a duel on on a lava bed,
lava or something.
He pushed Vader into a volcano, and I always pictured it to be like that very cliched and cheesy scene of like a hand popping up out of the lava.
Right.
I mean, not even nobody could pull that move off. Not even Gollum could pull that. I figured
it was because he says like a molten. I remember it being a molten pit. So I just
pit.
I almost kind of pictured him like not even sinking underneath, but he's just like hot coals, you know? So he's just kind of sizzling on his back like bacon.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. It's like, zzz, you know, and it just. Oh.
I hate you.
Yeah. It was a lot worse as it turned out. But,
well, yeah, it really was. I mean, they didn't hold back with that one. But again, he didn't fall into like molten lava and like crawl his, scratch his way out of it. Or like I said, the hand popping up out of the molten lava.
Yeah.
But it's funny, the Hasbro Mustafar playset does have this little, it's got a disc that's on a hinge, and so it can spin. It can flip from just a lava bed, and then you drop your Anakin Skywalker, and he goes into the thing, and the thing flips over, and there's a hand poking out of the lava.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't remember that playset.
Yeah,
it sounds like almost like the Dagobah playset with the swamp. That was like
that was like the foam, But this is plastic, and so this disc would spin around, and there was a hand there, and I was like, oh, that's kind of a tribute to my my thoughts as a kid, and also in the Batman movie, the Tim Burton one, when Jack Nicholson becomes the Joker, he gets pushed into the acid pool, and then his hand reaches out.
That's right.
And I was like, oh, that's kind of cliche. I'm glad George didn't do it that way.
Yeah.
Hasbro thought it was a good idea, though.
I just lit him up like a barbecue.
So, but it doesn't. So, like, what would actually change in all of that when you think to yourself, like when he says you should not have come back? That to me is a really strong line, meaning like it kind of does indicate that Obi-Wan and Vader did meet again after the rise of the Empire. Mm-hmm. And Ben attempted to deal with Darth Vader, And also it seemed like when Ben was talking to Luke as a spirit and Dagobah, he's more machine now than man, twisted. I used to think the way you did. That kind of stuff really needed maybe a little bit of reinforcement too, because you don't see it in the prequels. George wasn't trying to tie up all of those connections to the original trilogy. And I really wish he tried a little harder because he's just reinforcing his previous work. But his mindset wasn't working that way. And also he closed himself off to suggestion. He was, people were in his ear during the prequel trilogy, but he very stubbornly closed out all suggestions and other ideas that people were throwing at him. And I've heard that from people who actually worked on the prequels.
Were they suggesting things that like reminders? Because there's creative suggestions. There's creative suggestions, but then there's the reminders of like, hey, this happens in the other movies. So are you gonna address that? Do you know are those some of those suggestions?
Well, he would be like, oh, you're thinking like a fan. That stuff's too precious. No, don't be so precious about all of that. Right. You're so precious about it all.
Yeah. Well, we are precious about that.
Oh, precious.
Because we've lived with it. We sat with it for 20 years.
My precious.
Yeah.
But
you're mixing your pastas now.
Whoops. My pastas. Well, you're talking in the vernacular of my sons.
Yeah, I don't mix pastas.
They will bring up pastas to me, and I'll be like, what are we going to be having lunch or what's going on here? Yeah. I want to show you that disc from the playset that shows the hand. And Rebel Scum, back in the day when D. Martin Myatt was their photo guy, he used to just do some incredible photography of play sets and action figures and things like that. He was always the best. And he's got a little feature here on the Rebel Scum photo archive of the Mustafar playset. And I got to show it to you, but it's kind of hard to... Uh-oh, where are we? Okay.
I'm seeing...
Well, you were seeing this. Spoiler. We're seeing this. Yeah, let me see if I can show this to you without...
I don't remember this. It's not ringing a bell, this playset, at all.
Oh, you don't remember it? Well, here, let's see.
No,
Which one is the one that shows?
Maybe the spoiler.
Is this it? Look, he's got little.
Oh, look at that molten ball.
That shoots out. That's a lot of fun.
It's very Raiders.
I've always liked this playset a lot, but where is? Maybe this is it. Look, see, then there's the hand.
Oh yeah, there it is. There's the hand. I have no memory of this playset.
You don't, huh? Well,
no. And it is like the volcano that I kind of imagined. It's more like the volcano I imagined and less Mustafar that we got.
Yeah. Let's see if I can.
I mean, Obi-Wan has the high ground.
It's always good to have the high ground.
Yeah.
As we've learned. How do I zoom in on this? I can't see how to do anything anymore. Okay, well, here, let me just try to get it to play one more time just so you can get a better look at it, maybe. Maybe. Oh, it won't even reload for me. I guess you got to click it again. There he goes.
There he goes. There he goes.
And then the hand.
Yeah, there he goes. That's grim. I like it.
So that's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Spend hours with that.
Yeah. So I like that he's at the top of a volcano, but he kicks him to an ancillary pit outside the volcano, next to the volcano.
But that's largely, in my mind's eye, how I was seeing that play out when I first heard about it.
Well, because the idea of, even as a kid, of falling into a volcano, you don't get the sense that anybody's coming out of that.
No.
So it's got to be something ancillary to it, right? It's got to be something adjacent to the volcano that he could possibly survive and not just melt.
Well, that's what you need to do. And so that's why George did the right thing by having him more on the bed of the lava flow.
Yeah.
And just having, it's kind of like your charcoal briquettes kind of way.
Yeah. Apparently the Jedi robes are very flammable.
I know. Right. Yeah. They just go. How about it?
Right up.
And he went up. He went up like he was doused in gasoline.
I know, right? There must have been another deleted scene where Obi-Wan's hosing him down with the kerosene.
Yeah, right. Yeah, their battle.
They've just been fighting. They've just been flipping through. There's like embers falling on them, fighting through the lava fields and all that stuff. You mean none of their clothing caught any of those embers?
But then they ran past the Bucky's truck stop and they went to the Obi-Wan grabbed the self-service nozzle and hosed down Anakin. This will probably come in handy later.
Little did he knows it's not the high ground.
Yeah, all I have to do is get the high ground now, and this sucker, this goose is cooked. And
it's unleaded, Anakin.
His goose is cooked quite literally too. I'm talking well done, crispy. Crispy on the outside, juicy on the inside. That's how I like my Sith
I mean,
lords.
in my mind, that was always because we lived with Revenge of the Sith for so long and trying to make that connective tissue, and I couldn't quite square that hole, or whatever that saying is. I couldn't line them up, and so I thought that the Obi-Wan series did a better job of lining up with this scene as written than Revenge of the Sith did.
Yeah, man, it sure does. And the first guy, I have to give credit where credit is due. The first guy I ever knew to really start to dissect the dialogue in that scene and jump to the conclusion that surely Ben and Vader did meet again before A New Hope happened. This guy was Big Steve Glosson. Was the guy who's the first guy.
Heard from him in a long time.
No, I think he's one of those fans. I don't want to speak for Steve, okay? But I think the sequel trilogy era kind of wore him down a little bit. I mean, you did have to have kind of a thick skin at times to be a Star Wars fan and not feel insulted by some of the things that were going on via social media or whatever. That was just basically saying we don't care about the long-term fans. So, I mean, everybody saw it. It really can't be debated at this point. There have been so many articles written about it. It's more than just one of my hot takes, which got me.
I felt that. I think a lot of us felt felt that around.
Yeah, but nobody was talking about it except for Rebel Force Radio and some.
Yeah, we were talking about it. You guys were talking about it.
Well, we took a lot of heat for a lot of the things we said too.
Yeah,
I mean, we took a lot of heat, and now it's a lot more commonplace to hear that sort of discourse going on.
Right.
But back in the day, I think we were sort of setting trends a little bit, and whether or not it was a healthy thing to be going about, we were just really being honest about a lot of things. And there's not any one discussion we had that was the straw that broke the camel's back, but it wasn't anything that we said or did. It was more the reaction to just the reaction, and then the way people tried to discredit us and everything else, because
I remember that time. It was a bumpy time for you guys.
Weird. It was just weird.
Yeah.
It's really weird to look back at it now. But during the time, the best thing to do was just keep your head down and plow forward.
Yeah.
And it's nice not to have those distractions anymore. And it's also nice to take note that the discourse has become a little bit more mainstream and a little bit more acceptable. But back then it was like we drove up to the Presidio Park in San Francisco, got out of our cars, dropped our pants, and took a dump in the Yoda fountain at Lucasfilm, which was not at all what we were trying to do. We were just talking.
Yeah.
But people get threatened by words sometimes, I guess. And it was our status too,
Yeah.
Our status got us in a bit of trouble. So I like it. I actually prefer it nowadays, the way things are. But back then,
all right.
Yikes.
Yeah, no, it was bumpy. I remember because we were starting the Q&As around then. We were. So we talked about it a few times.
Oh,
it was,
boy. The Q&A saved us. The Q&A saved us.
But that was a subject that came up a lot, of just trying to sort this out. You know, what's happening? What does this mean? Can we not have disagreements can we not have opinions about Star Wars anymore without
it just completely devolving to sheer madness. But
so anyway, thank you for indulging me with that. I just wanted to do that quick bounce off. If you want to go back to 61, to the original scene.
Oh, here we go. Yes, I put the book back
where
on
they're
the shelf.
getting pulled into the Death Star.
Yes.
Which
hold on, just one more.
Yeah.
Chewie locked down the auxiliary power. Come on, man. Would you lock down the auxiliary power already? How many times have I got to ask? It's the buttons right there. Lock it down, Chewie. Lock out, for crying out loud.
Why are we still moving towards it?
I bypassed the compressor.
Oh, God.
Some moof milker.
You did that.
Some moof milker.
Oh, God, we're not even drinking.
This is going to drive me to drink. Okay, so we have stuff. We have things here. Turn the ship around. Paul Hirsch.
I just thought that was the coolest scene when I was a kid. I loved everything about the music. That it was ironic. I thought it was, as I got older, an interesting choice for a moment of doom for our heroes.
Yeah.
That it's a rousing piece of music. I loved it. It
is a good one.
Chill up. Yeah, it still puts a chill up my spine.
And
it just became such a cool visual and sound. The ship going through that little rectangle, and that angle of the Falcon when it's tiny from the profile pulling in. I loved everything about it.
Some of those shots are some of the best shots of the Millennium Falcon in the whole trilogy.
And that music, what a different choice than contrary to what you would think would be called for in a scene like that.
And they very effectively conveyed to you the size of the Death Star as you started getting closer and closer to it. Of course, that line, look at the size of that thing. Yeah, okay. But they really did an effective job of pulling that off. Say, look how big this
And when
motor
he
is.
says that later, it's like, yeah, we know.
Yeah, we know. We've already been there.
Yeah, we've seen it.
We've been in a garbage chute and on the tractor beam thing,
Yeah.
So they did a great job with that. Great job. And the music, too. The Falcon it's one of the... Also, when the TIE fighter, goes flying by them as they're approaching the Death Star, and it kind of
getting smaller.
It kind of buzzes them,
too.
but when it buzzes them and it flies right over the cockpit, that's one of the best TIE fighter sound effects ever.
Yeah,
that really is like the signature TIE fighter sound effect.
It's a short range fighter.
Oh, it's short range, but it still counts as a really good sound effect.
I always thought that. I always felt I really identified with Luke in that moment because everything he's putting out there, Ben shoots down. He's like, it must have followed us. He's like, no, it's a short range fighter. It must have been part of a convoy.
No.
Bases around here for it to come from. It's like, oh Jesus! All right, I'll just sit here.
I mean, even at the small moon line, he's like, that's no moon.
He's headed for that small. No, it's no moon.
No,
it's like, oh God,
that's no moon.
I was always that guy that was just like everything I said was wrong.
That's no moon, you stupid idiot. It's a space station. I'm telling you. That's another one where I thought, was Ben ever on the Death Star before? That's where I thought maybe his
right.
he had been to the Death Star because he instantly recognized it was a space station.
You put that out there once, I remember, years before Kenobi.
Yeah.
You put that out there on the main show, and I remember thinking like, oh, I don't know if I can get behind that, but that is really compelling. That was really compelling. Like, what if he had been?
Or at least he had the knowledge that it was being built. Does Ben ever have that knowledge?
Well, that realization he has can go both ways.
Yeah.
Right? Of either he's sensing that he's sensing life forms in a way that is not compatible with the moon in that moment, or like that really, or to your point, to your theory, he recognizes it.
Yes. Oh, crap. There it is again.
Yeah.
Man. I was so happy to get away from that place last time, and here I'm getting sucked into it again with this idiot kid that I've been watching over since he was a tot.
Yeah,
this isn't going to work.
My ways after like 40 years of living with Star Wars, of like, no, that can't have happened. Yeah,
but that's the thing. It is a very flexible franchise, and with almost each new release, it does make you look back at things with a different perspective. Yeah. And I think that's really good, man. I think that really helps the whole story keep growing, keep evolving. And we're going to go through it again here now with season 2 of Andor. Tony Gilroy has already gone on the record in certain interviews. I think in Empire Magazine, there was just a recently released interview where he said, hey, there's things you're going to be seeing Rogue One now with an entirely new set of eyes. Right. Lines in Rogue One are going to have a more significant meaning to them, or a different meaning to them. And I remember George Lucas talking this way about the original trilogy as he was prepping the prequels. So the beat goes on with Star Wars. And I think that's a healthy thing. I like that.
And I'm not as precious about Rogue One. So I'm flexible about that. And if it comes from George about the original trilogy, I'm like, well, it's George. Sometimes he can tick me off, but he's allowed to do that. I get a little bit more uptight when it's now this generation of new creatives who are saying, well, guess what you didn't know about? Because that's not fair. You're a fan just like me. You don't get to retcon stuff.
No.
I get my undies in a bunch about it sometimes.
Well, I certainly do. And that fuels the podcast week after week. But
rage.
Well, if you're a Star Wars fan and you're not complaining about Star Wars, then you're doing Star Wars wrong, I think.
Yeah, right.
You have to, because I think it's important for us as fans to take a particular amount of ownership over Star Wars. And sometimes we have to defend our property. And the thing is, though, is that the ownership of it all and the perspective of the whole story is so subjective that each person sort of owns a different piece of Star Wars.
Right.
Sometimes they own a piece of Star Wars you never even knew existed. But I think it's important to be open-minded about that stuff, because then you can maybe get get some value out of others' perspectives when it comes to Star Wars. And that's another thing that really fuels the podcast week after week. So I think debate, I think even complaining, I think that's all very healthy for Star Wars fans to do. And I think we should continue doing it, despite the negative people who want to say we're a toxic fandom. We're the most. I've seen this. We've all seen it. It's just, and then and there's some days you'll see a quote like that and you'll be like, oh hell yeah, that's true. That's super true. But then when you think about it, you're like, is it though? Really? Or are we just debating? We're debating a piece of fiction, and who can get their feelings hurt about that?
Yeah. I think the toxicity portion of it was earned during Last Jedi when they were going after doing things like conflating Kelly Marie Tran with their dislike of Rose. When you start to go after the actor, because you don't like the character, that to me, that's toxic. That's totally toxic. Everything else, I think I agree with you. It's like that's just debate. That's disagreement. That's debate. That's totally allowable.
Yeah.
But to, get personal with people, I think but that hasn't persisted though. I don't think.
Of course. I mean, it's always
I'm a little
around.
unplugged. I'm a little unplugged, so I'm not the best person to comment on it, but
no. And but I mean, it's been going on forever. Newsweek was famously vicious to Jake Lloyd. In there, and Ron Howard took exception to that, and he wrote an open letter to the magazine saying, "Well, you guys are real jerk offs to punch down at this kid actor the way you are."
Yeah,
but even back then, despite Ron Howard coming to Jake's defense, it was fairly commonplace for all media to be very vicious about entertainment and movies and things like that. So that was really the reign of the film critic back then. When you think of it,
it was
the golden age of film critics. So.
Well, it came from more mainstream institutions rather than people,
rather than social media.
Yeah, people on the internet and stuff, and like the masses and
right. So you can just say, instead of saying, well, Star Wars fans are super toxic, you can say, well, this publication is being really toxic about Star Wars, or this critic just simply he always rips on fun things like Star Wars and stuff like that, because a lot of critics were like that. They would take a crap all over anything just because it was fun. And so I don't know, things have changed so much now that everyone's a critic and everyone has a voice. It's very difficult for people to maneuver through that. So then they lump fan bases into these big giant negative categories, and I take exception to that from time to time. I'm fully willing to point out the flaws that all fan bases have in some way, shape, or form, but also I want to look at it and say, hey, this isn't just complaining. Let's listen to the complaints, because there's some really compelling things that are being brought up in some of these arguments for and against Star Wars. So I like to keep an open ear to all of that stuff, especially when a show like The Acolyte is hitting hard, or The Last Jedi or something. But, this kind of stuff's been going on with Star Wars even back in the George Lucas era too. So George famously said once, when asked by someone about why retire, he said, why should I keep making Star Wars movies if all the fans are just going to crap all over me for making them?
Right.
And so a lot of people jumped onto that and saying, that's why George sold Star Wars. No, George sold Star Wars because he got married and his wife made him get rid of all of his cool stuff.
Yeah, he made his sell his toys.
And the stuff he is allowed to keep, he has to keep in his little man cave, which in George Lucas's case will be a world-class museum in LA, opening next year. But I mean, that's millionaires, they live kind of differently than the rest of us. Don't know if you noticed.
So. As you may not have noticed, I'm under the stairs recording. So.
I'm your father, Luke. Give in to the dark side of the Force, you knob.
Rebel Force Radio.
All right, we're running a little bit long. You want to do one more?
No. Let's wrap it up. No, let's
right.
wrap it up. My schedule's getting a little tight now.
Yeah.
And
Same.
I think you have opened the door to a fun recurring thing that you and me can do from time to time is crack this book open.
Fun.
So next time, let's dive into Empire Strikes Back a little bit.
I love it.
But the original, A New Hope, is the one that's most fun because it went through so many different evolutions.
Yeah.
And changed. But Empire Strikes Back too did have an entire first draft written by Lee Brackett, and that didn't really sit well with George. And then she passed away, and he couldn't collaborate with her anymore, so he had to bang it out himself for a little while until he brought in Lawrence Kasdan to help him punch it all up.
Yeah.
So, or more than just punch it all up, Kasdan added vast amounts of story to the overall plot. And, a lot of people... they kind of hold Lawrence Kasdan in such high regard, and they can't understand some of the writing of, some of the way things were executed with The Force Awakens or the Solo film. And I say to them, well, when was the last time Lawrence Kasdan did anything particularly noteworthy? I mean, if you look at his IMDb, the guy's been on ice for a long time.
Yeah. It's not like he was,
I don't think
he wrote the Han Solo novels, in the meantime. Or
I don't think we're
in Han Solo for all these years.
I don't think we're exactly getting peak Lawrence Kasdan. In the 20 teens.
That's a fair assessment.
So, I mean, that's just something to think about. But he was one of those guys that they had brought in, even when George was still running the company, as they started to devise plans for what was going to go down with Star Wars. Kasdan was on board. They wanted him to do that Han Solo film. And then he got drafted into working with JJ on The Force Awakens after they fired Michael Arndt. And so I think that wore Kasdan to the bone, doing all that. And then it was over and done with, and Kasdan was, probably getting ready to go on a vacation somewhere on a sandy beach. And they said, okay, let's get to work on the Solo film. And Kasdan's like, what? You guys still want to do that? Yeah. Let's go. Because The Force Awakens was such a huge success. The corporate demand for more Star Wars from Disney and Lucasfilm was pretty intense.
The sky was a limit.
The sky was a limit because of the success of The Force Awakens. Disney really left Lucasfilm alone for a few years. And that's how The Last Jedi debacle really happened. And I saw that John Boyega he's complaining once again about what he perceives as racism in Star Wars. But I think that his character was just done dirty by the fact that his character never developed into anything.
Yeah.
Which is
the case with a lot of those characters.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yes. But so John is saying that he got done dirty, but I don't think it has anything to do. Well, I don't know. I can't speak for John Boyega. I don't know what kind of experience he went through.
Well, if his character stood out as the only one that was shortchanged.
Yes. Okay. You're bringing up a good point.
They were all kind of pointless.
Right. I just think that John was presented a different bill of goods. I think he was kind of told he would be really the main male protagonist of the entire sequel trilogy.
Well, it certainly seemed that way in Force Awakens. I mean, if you go back and watch, it's like I always forget like how thin centric it was.
Yeah. Oh, the whole film is largely told from the perspective of his character, I think.
Yeah. The marketing was billed him as the hero with the lightsaber.
Even sort of like the glorification of Rey, putting her on a pedestal. It's because he clearly was crushing on her in the first film.
Yeah.
And
but
then
he is like the droids in the original trilogy. It's like you start with his perspective almost, and you follow him all throughout as he meets all of these people. I mean, it's almost his journey.
Yeah.
as much as it's Rey.
Very true. Very true. And then in The Last Jedi, he to split up all the main characters, I think, was, after bringing them together in the first film, the second film should have had them together more often. But they really separated.
I don't know. I mean, I
guess you do that.
They do that in Empire.
In Empire,
I think it was I think it was the setting it moments after.
Yeah.
I think that hurts it because you don't even get the sense of adventures having happened in between. When you pick up an Empire, there's all sorts of hints that just visually and dialogue that they've been through all sorts of adventures together, that just reinforce what we saw in the last movie. So when they do split off, you're bummed out that I was bummed out at the time. I was like, oh, they're not together. That stinks.
Yeah.
But it was still an effective movie, and you can see why they did that. But this seemed to split them up for the sake of splitting them up, with no backstory other than what we saw.
I think it's really easy to make Rian Johnson the scapegoat for the sequel trilogy. Because you always look at where to go off the rails. Well, obviously it went off the rails with The Last Jedi. But I think you're jumping to an assumption that might not be entirely accurate, because I think where it all goes off the rails is the lack of inclusion of Luke Skywalker in the first film, and not being able to unite the main three characters in that first film, Han, Luke, and Leia. It should have totally been done. It should have been like in the first half of the movie.
In Force Awakens.
Yes, let everyone scratch that itch. Let everyone see their heroes being heroes.
Yeah.
And then have the new characters like Rey, Finn, and Poe emerge alongside those new characters. And then by the time you get to the midway point of the next episode, episode 8, the story is clearly in the hands of the new characters.
Right.
With the other characters still supporting them in a huge way.
Yeah.
But, I mean, and I think a lot of drama could have been developed out of that.
Absolutely.
A ton of drama.
Absolutely, for sure.
But,
I mean, it's unacceptable to me that their excuse was they couldn't figure out how to write Luke Skywalker in a scene with the new characters.
So that's when the
figure it out.
And we all were kind of blinded by that because Harrison Ford played such a strong role in The Force Awakens, despite getting killed off, which I thought was a silly thing to do.
Yeah, and it ruins that movie for me.
It kind of does.
Every time I'm like excited about seeing Force Awakens, rewatching it to see Han again and Chewie, I'm like, but then I got to go through that.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that. I hate that part. It's so brutal.
Right,
it's so sad and depressing, and it's just like, even 10 years on and knowing who Kylo, it's still I don't take any.
No.
It's. Ugh.
Yeah, that didn't sit well with me from day one. And I don't know how verbal I was about all of that. But there's, people still clutching that myth that the only reason Harrison Ford came back and shot The Force Awakens is so they could kill Han Solo off. And that is total fabrication. That's
but you could understand why people think
Well,
that.
I do. I understand.
Years of Harrison Ford bashing on Han Solo.
And that's another Lawrence Kasdan thing.
What is?
Well, Kasdan famously was pitching Lucas on how, at the end of Return of the Jedi, how one of the characters should die.
Oh, right.
He was pitching Lucas really hard on that. And George said, no, I hated it going to movies when I was a kid and my heroes got killed off. I hated that. To what end does this serve?
Yeah.
Just to make it seem like the threat is greater than it would be without having one of the main characters die. I think that the threat of the Emperor and the Death Star and Darth Vader, it was a big enough threat in itself. I don't think they needed to kill off anyone. And quite honestly, I was very shaken by that dead Ewok scene anyway. So Kasdan kind of got what he wanted. There was a serious death.
Do you know what scene always gave me it still does give me a little moment of panic?
What?
Is when they're leaving Home 1 to head on out to Endor.
Yeah.
And Leia comes up to Han and he's like, "You all right?" He's like, "Yeah, I just got a funny feeling like I'm never going to see her again."
Oh.
And I remember as a kid in the theater being like, don't do the Falcon.
Because we saw them do that to the Enterprise, but that was after. That was after.
But it was just, we had just, as a kid, we had just gotten through the trauma of getting the band back together. Han was in Carbonite for 3 years for us, and that was as a kid, that was forever. We just got the band back together. I didn't want to lose anybody else. And I was like, oh God, they're foreshadowing that the Falcon's going to get blown up.
True. They were, that's what it felt like. At least it implied that threat was definitely there. And we saw the Falcon go through a rough ride inside that Death Star superstructure.
It still hurts when I see that. When that deflector dish gets knocked off, it still hurts.
Yeah, it's like, damn. They're busting up the ride.
Yeah. The radar dish. It's like, it still hurts.
All right, from the trusty Star Wars
yes,
the screenplay book.
Read
noted screenplay. During story meetings, this is for Return of the Jedi. During story meetings, Lawrence Kasdan suggested that in order to give an emotional twist to the story, Luke should die and his sister should take over at the end. George, but no mention of Han, but I've heard Kasdan say numerous amount of times that
I'm sure you'll find that if you keep flipping.
Yeah.
I think he was putting everybody on the chopping block
to die. But George said it would have really put an unfortunate twist on everything if we killed off one of the main characters. Luke needed to live, and we needed to have Leia and Han together at the end. The fact that the boy gets the girl or the girl gets the boy in the end was a key factor, and it was as important as Luke overcoming his demons. At the same time, I never realized that George put that much stock in the Han and Leia relationship, but he really believed that needed to be in place, and it was as important as Luke overcoming his demons. At the same time, I realized I could kill off Luke if I wanted to, and I tried to play that up as much as I could. It was conceivable that Luke could die or turn to the dark side, and if he did, then it would be up to Leia to redeem everybody. Another idea that Kasdan had for the ending was to have Luke put on Vader's mask and say he was now going to destroy the Rebel fleet and rule the universe. Boy, this Kasdan...
Supreme Leader is dead.
This Kasdan...
Long live the Supreme Leader.
Kasdan must be a lot of fun to have at parties, let me just say.
Well, it's a different movie. He's writing for the wrong movie.
Right.
It's a fairy tale.
Yeah, this isn't The Big Chill.
It's not. Yeah, it's not.
Where
more
Kevin Bacon is dead at the beginning of the movie. It's
it's not the death of Arthur. It's
right. The Han Solo thing though, because that's specifically what I was talking about. But it's no.
We'll find it. We'll find it for next time.
Yeah, Kasdan.
We'll find it. I'm sure it's in there. I have a feeling now, hearing you, that Kasdan was putting a lot of characters on the chopping block.
Yeah.
What do you think about blowing up R2?
We kill. We gotta kill. He's got this taste for blood. I don't know. Something. Lawrence is acting very twitchy and weird right now. He wants to kill us. Wants to kill all the characters. Can we please pat him down? Make sure he's not. He's not packing anything right now. I'm a little nervous for my own well-being here.
Is he tooting again?
Kasdan. So he was so exhausted after they did The Force Awakens. They said, let's get that Solo movie going now. And so he wasn't up to the task, so he brought in his son to work on the script. And Jonathan Kasdan's something he's a hack. Let's just say it. He's a hack. He's a total hack. And I hope I never, ever see him involved in another Lucasfilm production again.
I don't think it's...
They're still licking their wounds from the one over he did to them with the Willow show. They're like, they don't know what hit them right there. Yeah, yeah.
I never watched it. I just heard from you guys it was just awful, and I was like, I just don't have it in me.
First couple episodes, I was like, okay, maybe, but it was like, where's Willow? And then Willow shows up, and he's basically a useless character the whole time.
Oh,
and,
good.
And the acting is so stiff. There's that actress, Erin Kellyman, who was she was the Emphy's Nest in Solo. The girl with the freckled girl. That girl can't act her way out of a paper bag. I mean, there'd be all this fantastical, amazing things happening in front of her, and she just have this look on her face. It was like this, like nothing. It's like, you know, maybe her way of reacting is she'd maybe like take one step back. But no emotional investment, no acting in the face going on. I saw this a lot with Amanda Stenberg too, in the Acolyte show, where it's like, no matter what's happening, she could be in a high stress situation. She could be watching some incredible thing happening in front of her, and she just would have this stone.
Was she the green girl?
No, she was the main girl. She was the main girls. She was Osha and May.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the green girl. Oh, that don't even get me talking about her. I think if I'm going to be answering the questions to the Yoda questionnaire anytime in the future, who is your least favorite Star Wars character? It would be Vern Rowe. That's who it would be. Vernestra Rowe.
Vern Rowe. Okay, you remember the name. Very good.
Vernestra Rowe, and played by I don't know the actress's name, but she's Leslie Headland's better half. Or lesser half. I don't know. She was a terrible actress and just sucked the life out of the room. There was no energy to her performance at all. It was like watching them put a wet mop in Jedi robes and start shooting, and you'll get a better performance than what you got from Vern. She's just
so you liked her.
Just a gross character. But no, not at all. I liked Mog better than I liked Vern.
Which one was Mog?
He was the sort of real kind of skinny looking guy who reported to her. He was a Jedi.
Oh, yeah. Was he kind of like the bureaucrat?
No, he was like the nerd.
Yeah, I see him. Yeah, the little yeah.
He was like a little twerpy.
Yeah, he was kind of like the.
He's kind of a twerpy kind of.
Yeah, really. Yeah, I didn't like him either.
So whatever. I think the idea was to surround her with a guy who looked, you know, who came off as kind of weak and spineless and stuff to make Vern look more powerful somehow.
Yeah, and I always think that's a mistake.
Terrible mistake.
Characterization whenever you're trying to characterize a character or a thing as struggling, you got to actually make them at their best. You know, so that so that we are on board with them, and they stumble in spite of being at their best and because of the struggle. You can't just make them wimpy and weak, and so that you just don't relate to them. You want to see them fall. You don't have any idea what business they have in that position to begin with. You know, you don't want to foreshadow the fall with a character. You want to really present them at their best, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you. You're an actor. Are these things you discuss in your actors' workshops, things like this?
Oh, yeah, all the time. Yeah.
As a matter of fact, you can have, this is like an actor's workshop with Matt Rashid on the effective way to portray a Jedi.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's the same as, like I have all sorts of theories on how you play a Vulcan.
Oh,
you know, you have to, whenever you're, a teacher once told me, make the positive choice. Always make the positive choice. You know, even if you're doing a scene where it's inherently negative, you know, or a bad thing happens or you're doing a bad thing, make the positive choice in that scene. See, you're smirking.
Well, because I thought of this thing I've been working on. Are you familiar with George Carlin's bit about the differences between football and baseball?
Yes.
So I'm working on something very similar to that. The differences between Star Wars and Star Trek.
All right. Want to workshop some of it with me?
In Star Wars, a group of rebels form an alliance to take down an aggressive, imposing empire that has stripped away their liberties and freedoms, and they're fueled by the dark side of the Force. In Star Trek, the Federation is exploring. They're out in the galaxy to explore. What's this? Let's go take a closer look. Hello, who are you? All right.
All right. I like it. Yeah, you got something there.
I got something. It's not. It's just an
no.
idea.
I see where you're going. There's something to be mined there. Yeah.
In Star Wars,
yeah,
they travel through the galaxy on a Star Destroyer or a Death Star.
In Star Trek, the Federation explores the galaxy in the Enterprise. Look how enterprising we are.
They have starships.
We're so enterprising. Yes, starship.
Yeah, they have Star Destroyers.
It's not a Star Destroyer.
Starships.
Hello.
Okay.
Yeah, there's something there. And you got
in
more?
Star Wars.
Yes.
When dealing with a challenging opponent who could be very threatening or even deadly, a character might apply a force choke and suck the oxygen out of their opponent and leave them there on the floor dead.
In Star Trek, if someone's giving you a problem, Mr. Spock will come up and give them a little pinch on the shoulder. Pinch. Oh, and look, they're sleeping now. They're sound asleep. So, these are things I got to commit this to paper a little bit.
Yeah, I'm at your disposal.
Yeah. So, hey, throw some suggestions at me. I think there's all kind of different ways we can do this. And I probably, I have a really good knowledge of Star Trek, but I don't know all the minutia.
Well,
and everything.
I think for a joke like that, you shouldn't know all the minutia, right? You should have the broad strokes. That's the way the joke will have more appeal.
Mm-hmm. 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 In Star Wars...
And Star Wars,
the characters
they fly with hyperspace.
Star Trek, they go to warp speed. No, it's warped. It's just a little warped. They're just going to warp the speed a little bit. Nothing hyper about it.
Yeah,
but in Star Wars, they communicate via a high-tech system of holograms.
In Star Trek, they call you on a cell phone from 1993. A little flip phone. Hello.
There's many different avenues we can pursue with this.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential here. I like it.
And it has to be, in the George Carlin style.
Yeah. Oh, no, you have to.
So I'm going to be working. If anybody has suggestions, send it show at rebelforceradio.com. Here's a new thing I'm doing lately. I am discouraging people from using social media to communicate with us. We get so many messages via Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, and we never look at any of them. So... every once in a while, I'll stumble across it. I'll be like, oh, look at oh, that was interesting. I could have used that 6 months ago. But it's just how it goes. I wish I could turn all of that stuff off. I think there's a way to do it, too, with some of them. I just don't know how. And so if you got anything that you want us to have for the show or anything, show at rebelforceradio.com. I do always look at the Patreon messages, though. Those are a top priority to me. So Patreon's always a good way.
Yeah, Patreon's the place.
Patreon is the place, yeah.
A lot of good chit chat going on.
Yeah, we're in a nice little bubble over there.
Yeah, nice safe space.
Appreciate. Yeah. But, yeah.
Safe space.
Safe space. A subspace.
Star Wars podcasts duke it out via social media channels and YouTube videos.
Star Trek fans flock to a safe space. Look at me. I'm in my safe space now. Can't touch me.
So again,
we're getting a little light in the loafers in the Star Trek universe.
Well, that's how Carlin does it, though. It's just... It's not light in the loaf. Well, maybe it's.
I'm taking umbrage.
It's just supposed to be kind of like soft and carefree,
Yeah.
Hello.
No, I get.
But no, that's how Carlin does it. Yeah. I'm saying, I'm not just winging this.
It's true.
I'm inspired by.
I was drinking from my Star Trek cup this whole time. See, I like to cross pollinate my fandom.
In Star
See,
Wars,
look, I have right here. I've got Captain Kirk here,
Kirk, buried
And I've got the Tantivy here.
Buried alive. Buried alive. So that's Kirk.
They live together.
They do in harmony.
In harmony.
In harmony. Yes.
It can happen, folks. You can love two things.
In Star.
Oh, that's a lot.
I don't have any more. So I got to come up with some.
No, we'll work on this. I like it. I like it, Jimmy. Yeah.
Communicate. I like the holograms and in Star Wars, they
have a communicator.
And say a communicator that looks like a 1993 Motorola flip phone.
Yeah.
Hello. Is this what 900 number have I dialed into today?
Chewie, get us out of here!
All right, that's going to do it for this episode of Rebel Force Radio and our look at Star Wars: A New Hope, the annotated screenplay with Matt Rashid. That was an episode of RFR Q&A that you can only get at patreon.com/Rebel Force Radio. Available to all supporters of RFR on Patreon. Only $2 gets you in and gets you access to every episode of RFR Q&A. So maybe consider supporting Rebel Force Radio, joining us on Patreon, getting access to bonus exclusive podcasts, full show video, early bird releases, and access to the coolest community of Star Wars fans you'll find anywhere, internet or anywhere. And that's at patreon.com/Rebel Force Radio. Thank you, everyone, again for listening this week. And we'll be back next week with that tribute to the late, great Drew Struzan. You don't want to miss it. Until then, thank you so much for listening to Rebel Force Radio and for supporting Rebel Force Radio on Patreon. So on behalf of Rebel Force Radio and Jason Swank, I am Jimmy Mack. Thanks again for listening. And remember,
The Force will be with you, always.
may the Force be with us. Oh.